Hi friends, my name is Krishna. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today's topic is going to be again on journal entries. This time we are going to talk about the expenses. So let us talk about first one, salaries paid 5,000. Number 2, rent paid 7,000. Number 3, commission paid 6,000. Right? So we will talk about these transactions so that all expenses, whatever we paid, you can relate in a similar fashion. I am giving 3 examples. Okay? Let us say again the same old questions from business point of view. B means business. Business point of view, we need to analyze these transactions. Number 1, salaries paid. Salaries paid to whom? Salaries will be paid to employees, right? When we pay the salaries, how do we analyze this transaction? Why do we pay the salaries to employees? Because business is receiving services from them. Because business is receiving services from them. So, when we pay the salaries, what we receive? We receive services. We receive services. What comes in? Services comes in. What goes out? Cash goes out. Cash goes out. So when we receive the services, how do we analyze this? You need to understand the definition of expenditure. Expenditure definition says any amount paid for the services received is known as an expenditure. Any amount paid for the services received is known as an expenditure. Here we are receiving the services and we are paying the amount, right? This is an expenditure. Again I am repeating. What do you mean by expenditure? Any amount paid for the services received, any amount paid for the services received is an expenditure. Here what are the services we are receiving? Employee services. Employees providing their services to the business. So this is an expenditure, right? When we receive the services, that will be considered as an expenditure, right? So this expenditure comes under nominal account. Clear? Cash comes under real account. Now, principle. What is the principle under nominal account? All expenses and losses are to be debited. So these services, whatever we receive, comes under nominal account. So nominal account principle says all expenses and losses have to be debited. So these services have to be debited. What is this service name? These services we are naming it as salaries because employees are providing the services. We pay them by means of salary. By means of salary. So these services we name it as salaries and this is an expenditure and all expenses and losses have to be debited, hence salaries account is debited. Clear? Then cash is going out, comes under real account. What is the principle under real account? Debit what comes in, credit what goes out. Here cash is going out, so you need to credit what goes out to be applicable. So here cash has to be credited to cash account. Very simple. This is how the entry has to be prepared. Clear? Let us move on to the next one. Rent paid. Right? Let us say from business point of view. Again, what comes in? When do we pay the rent? When we receive the services from the landlord. What services we receive from the landlord? Landlord is providing his house for the rent. He is providing that house for us, right? So that is the service he is providing. So we are receiving services. What services? He is providing his house for rent. So we are taking his house and we are paying rent, right? So here the services are received and we are paying cash. What do you name these services here? Because you took the house from the landlord. That is the service provided by the landlord. You took the house, right? For that, what is that you are paying rent? So here these services we are naming it as rent. These services, whatever we receive from the landlord, naming it as rent. So what is that we are receiving? We are receiving services and we are paying rent, right? So what is that expenditure definition says? The first video in accounting fundamentals, I explained what is the definition of expenditure. You can refer that definition. Again, I am repeating. What do you mean by expenditure? Expenditure means any amount paid for the services received is known as expenditure. Here, what are the services we received? Land or house or accommodation we received from the landlord. That is the service we received. That service we are naming it as rent. This rent is an expenditure because we are receiving the services and paying the amount, because of which we are treating this as an expenditure. So rent is an expenditure, hence it comes under nominal account. Cash comes under real account. What is the principle under nominal account? All expenses and losses have to be debited and all incomes and gains are to be credited. Rent is an expenditure. Clear? Rent is an expenditure. Expenses and losses have to be debited. Actually, we have to debit services, but we don't debit services. What do we are naming it as rent. Hence, rent account debit. Because it is an expenditure, as per nominal account, debit all expenses and losses, hence I am debiting rent. Clear? Then what goes out? Cash. Comes under what? Real account. What principle says? Debit what comes in, credit what goes out. Here, cash is going out. Credit what goes out is applicable. So, to cash account. Clear? This is how you need to analyze and prepare the journal entries. Next, if you do like this, you will not commit any fundamental mistakes, right? So then, commission paid. Why commission paid? From business point of view, let us say. When do we make the payment, commission payment to the people? When we receive the services. When we receive the services from someone, we pay the commission because he is providing services. You go to banker, we pay commission to the bank because of the services provided with the banker. Similar way, anybody for that matter, if they provide services and if there is an agreement that we need to pay commission, the commission will be paid. What you need to remember here is commission will be paid for the services received from others. So this is an expenditure. So what is that we are receiving here? We are receiving services. We are receiving services. What do we name the services? We name the services as commission. Why we are naming it as commission? Because we received the services and paying commission. So those services is a common word, right? We need to name, depends on the nature of the transaction. Here nature of the transaction is commission paid for the services received. Hence these services will be named as commission. What goes out? Cash. Cash goes out. So commission comes under nominal account. Why? Any amount paid for the services received is known as an expenditure. Here you are receiving services and paying commission. Hence this is known as an expenditure. This expenditure comes under nominal account. What is the principle under nominal account? Debit expenses and losses. So I am debiting commission account. Right? What goes out? Cash goes out. Cash comes under real account. Principle, debit what comes in, credit what goes out. Here, cash is going out. Credit what goes out is applicable to cash account. Clear? So this is how the expenditure journal entries have to be prepared. Hope you are very clear on this topic. If you like the content, please like my channel, like my content, subscribe to my channel and share this video with your friends and colleagues. Thank you so much.